Hi everyone, I'm Thomas R Coughlin. I'm a bioengineer turned PhD scientist turned entrepreneur. I teach entrepreneurship at the university in my town and have launched 2 successful startups and now work in medical communications in pharma. And back in 2018, after finishing my postdoc, I started PhDSource.com, a blog helping PhDs navigate their careers with more clarity and purpose. I'm also the author of How to Make Your PhD Work, a guide for creating a career in science and engineering, published with Wiley in October of 2023. If you haven't picked up the book yet, go grab it. I've got the link in the bio below in the description. It's packed with the exact framework and tools I wish I had earlier in my career and contains the transition stories from 12 PhDs who found careers in academics, government, industry, and more. Today, we're diving into one of my favorite questions: how do you choose the right PhD program in 2025? Let's dive in. I was recently advising a student of mine, and she had a grant from undergrad and 4 PhD offers to choose from. It was an incredible position to be in. Each lab had a different feel, a different story, and the more her and I talked, the more it became clear that these universal scenarios were ones that almost anyone could fall into. So today, I'm going to walk you through the 3 real-world PhD program scenarios and break down the key lessons from each one. So stick around to the end. I've also got a diagnostic tool you can use to evaluate any offer that you have and assess any PhD program that you're currently in or considering. All right, first up, University A, a top Ivy League university, prestigious department. The professor, big name, in their 60s, incredible CV, and still publishing a little bit. And she would be his only PhD student. It sounds ideal, right? Personalized attention, prestigious mentor, but not so fast. He was publishing less, not taking other students, and starting to slow down. And that's kind of a red flag, and it's actually 2 red flags. Yes, it's an Ivy League. Yes, that matters. But this is your experience, right? So you're going to spend 5+ years in this lab. Are you going to be stimulated, mentored, challenged? Will you get what you need to grow? On this channel, we'll talk a lot about mentorship. And it's actually the fundamental key part of a PhD and what makes a PhD experience better than others. They need to be patient and available. So for this student, the idea of a lonely lab, of chasing a mentorship in an empty office, didn't really feel like the immersive experience that she wanted. And here's the thing, this student was hoping to become a professor one day, so mentorship wasn't just a bonus, it was crucial to her role. She needed to see what a good mentorship looked like to become the kind of mentor that she could be in her own academic career. So despite the name, she passed. Next up, University B. Smaller city, younger professor, newly launched lab. The PI is not tenured yet, and she was grinding hard to get there. The lab was buzzing, 4 PhD students, cool projects, big energy. But when my student asked her about her mentoring style, the professor said this. She said, "I know I can be hard on my students sometimes, and I'm really trying to work on that." So you got to respect the honesty, but that's a red flag. Even if the lab is exciting, you've got to ask, will the stress of inconsistent leadership get in the way of your success? And here's the big one. She wasn't tenured. If she didn't get tenure, she could lose the lab, have to move institutions, and that means you have to start over somewhere new. That kind of uncertainty is real. You can feel that, right? Having to move labs mid-PhD, that can add on a lot of time to your PhD. Now, I told the student if she wanted a high-growth, high-reward situation, this could be it. She could do great things, help the PI earn tenure, and gain tons of experience. But it's a bet. It comes with the pressure, risk, and reward. She seriously considered it, and she told me that she liked the energy, the sense of the mission, and being close in age to the PI made her feel like she could grow there with her. But ultimately, she craved something more stable. She wanted more guarantees, a stronger foundation, and that's why she moved on to scenario C. Top 20 program, tenured female professor, mid-career, publishing regularly. The lab had 6 students, funding was solid, and when asked how she supports her students' careers, she actually had a real answer. It was thoughtful and something that you'd need to be considering later on. So, huge green flag. So when I asked my student what this professor said, she said that I support my students. She described her process. She has regular check-ins, career mentorship, and pushes her students to explore more additional paths. The lab had structure, energy, resources, a mentor who sees her students as future collaborators, not just hands in the lab to get things done. It wasn't the flashiest option, but it was built for long-term growth. And for this student, it was clear that this was a yes. So let's bring it all together. When choosing your PhD program, evaluate 3 pillars. Your environment, is it collaborative, funded, and healthy? Your advisor, are they available, tenured, and invested? And your project, is it funded, clear? Is it worth 5 years of your life? In How to Make Your PhD Work, I included a full diagnostics checklist that walks you through this in detail, evaluating your environment, advisor, and project, giving them actual scores to help you decide if a PhD program is for you, and also assess your PhD program as it's in progress. And so remember, look for red flags as you're talking to PhD advisors or evaluating your own PhD. Solo labs with no peer support is a red flag. Advisors who are unavailable, critical, or checked out, another red flag. Unfunded and vague projects without clear plans, these are not great. That's a red flag. And burnout culture where you're working really, really hard and it just like never ends. That's another red flag. So green flags are the opposite, right? Advisors who mentor and collaborate, labs with momentum and funding, clear career support, projects that excite you. This is your future, right? So build it with intention. So in 2025, how do you pick the right PhD? Right? We have AI. We have a lot of things happening right now. It's becoming a more competitive landscape from an economic standpoint, and there are fewer professor jobs available. There's only 3,000 a year, and that was in the mid-2000s and 2010s. There could be fewer, and education could change now with AI as well. So with all of these things happening, how do you choose the right PhD program? How do you evaluate it for you? Now, PhDs are still going to be very, very valued in industry, in government, as well as in academics. So there's careers out there, but in this YouTube video, we talked about how to evaluate that PhD for you. So like we said, don't just go with the name. Don't just go with the hype. Look at a few different things. Who your advisor really is, what the environment feels like, and where your project can actually take you. So if this video helped you, subscribe to this channel. We're going to break down everything from choosing your programs to building careers to transitioning out of academia. And if you haven't yet, pick up your copy of the book, How to Make Your PhD Work. It's the guidebook that I wish I had and many of my peers wish they had. So I'm Thomas R Coughlin, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.